Baby boomers, get excited. This is the podcast that's for you, by you. The Boomer Business Owner is the only podcast dedicated to helping baby boomers successfully start and run an online business. If you're ready for empowering conversations with successful online entrepreneurs, then grab a coffee and listen into your host, Charlie Posnick.
Welcome to the Boomer Business Owner. My guest today is Brian Carter. Brian is an acclaimed sales and marketing keynote speaker. He's the author of 3 social media books, including The Like Economy, LinkedIn for Business, and Facebook Marketing. Brian has 14 years experience with search and social marketing, both as a consultant and marketing agency director. He does comedy in his spare time, and his 101-year-old grandma thinks he's pretty neat. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Charlie. Thanks for having me.
So you're into social media. We will get into that in just a minute, but can you take just a few minutes to tell us a little bit about your background and specifically how you got to doing what you're doing today?
Yeah, I'll try and say it quickly. It's kind of a weird story. Like, I was in school for acupuncture, and I was going to be an acupuncturist and an herbalist. And I created a website to explain that to the layperson. And over time, I figured out how to get a lot of people to that site with search engine optimization. And I started making money on it because I had Google ads on my site. And I started making a lot of money at that. And eventually it kind of shifted over. There were a couple months where I got $20,000 checks from Google. And that didn't last forever. But that was my first experience going, maybe I could do something else. And finding out that I loved learning the acupuncture stuff. I didn't like actually practicing it. So that's how I kind of started. And eventually I did a little freelance, and then I did some e-commerce and the agency job. And then eventually went freelance again. And now we're really building up a small kind of boutique agency.
So how can you help me? I'm a guy. I have an online business. What services do you provide to me?
We basically do marketing. So there are a lot of different marketing and advertising channels online, from Google's ads in the search results to Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, YouTube ads. I mean, if you have a video, we can show your video before somebody else's video. Like, that's called pre-roll. We also do consulting and audits. If you have an existing site or social media presence, we can go look at that, evaluate it for you, tell you what the next steps are. That's an audit. And then I also do hourly if people are just trying to brainstorm something.
So if I am kind of starting out in online business or early in the game, are there a couple of different platforms, social media platforms, that you would recommend over others?
Yeah, I mean, Facebook is controversial in some ways, but it reaches 1.2 billion people. It's the biggest one, so that's that's part of the deal. Is you got to reach the people who are going to be your prospects, and that means people have to be on the network. Like, for example, Twitter has more like 200 million, not quite as many people. So Facebook has the most people of all different types. It also has, I think, the real advantage that Facebook has for businesses is the advertising, because you can, let's say you've got those 1.2 billion people, or you just want to narrow it down to America, we got 300 million, then you can target it pretty specifically to who you want to see your ads. So I usually tell people this is a lot like TV in that you can reach almost everybody, but it's way more targeted. So we can reach just the people who are enthusiastic about the thing that you sell or whatever. And it's also a very low commitment. You can go into Facebook and spend $5 a day, $150 a month. And with that, you're on average, you're going to reach about 20,000 people a day. And you get to target which 20,000 people those are. So in a way, it's better than TV. And then there's also YouTube. I mentioned that is a lot like TV because it's video. And the cool thing about these advertising methods is you can go in and just have a pretty low minimum starting budget.
So are you helping me figure out the whole package? I mean, I get that you're going to help me put together maybe a Facebook ad, but are you helping me figure out where the Facebook ad goes? Does it go to the homepage of my website? Does it go to a separate page? Things like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, some of that's the initial discussion of strategy, and I have the things we've found sometimes determine that. Like, do you want to grow fans on a page? You don't have to do that. You can just use the ads to send people to your website. But you do have to have a way to reach people repeatedly. So this is the strategy phase I talk to people about. Like, what are they going to do? What's the whole strategy going to look like? Because there are at least 15 different types of internet marketing we could do, and they all have strengths and weaknesses. Some of them are very good at raising awareness, if that's what you need to do. Others like Google ads are pretty strong at getting people who are ready to buy right now, so you can get that immediate profit. But it's a little more expensive. So there are strengths and weaknesses to each of these marketing options, and usually the best thing to do is to have at least 3 or 4 of them together that do everything you need to do. You need to think about a sales funnel where you have all these people who could be your customers. And, first off, are they even aware that you exist? Because you can't sell to someone who's not aware of you. And you move down the funnel to what we call owned media, which is like email or anything where you can contact them again, basically. In the old days, it was direct mail. So it could be an email list, or it could be the Facebook fan, or even a retargeting audience, which comes from Google or Facebook. They can do these ads where if you've been to somebody's website, you'll see their ads again, either on Facebook or on all these websites that show Google ads. So all those are owned media, right? So I'm trying to talk about the sales funnel. At the top, you got awareness. In the middle, you've got ways to reach people again, and at the bottom, you've got, getting that sale or getting a lead so you can call them up and try and sell to them.
So let's step back for a second. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you're going to be able to help me get people to my website. What about how to monetize those people when they come to the website? Are you involved in that process at all?
Well, I certainly can be. Usually people don't contact us before they have like a kind of a business model. But based on my experience, I could give you feedback about whether I think it'll work, but there's going to be some kind of testing phase. And it's really, if you haven't done any online marketing and you don't have a website and your product's new, there's a lot of unknowns. I mean, the first thing you got to figure out is anyone going to want to buy this, right? Because we could start marketing with Google or Facebook and no one buys. It could be because we're not doing a good job with the ads, or it could be we're reaching the wrong people, or it could be nobody will ever buy what you're offering. So it's definitely harder in the beginning when you don't even know if people are going to want it. So there's two things, like there's a red ocean and a blue ocean. I don't know if you've heard that concept. But red oceans are think like Walmart. Like the only people go there looking to buy something they've already heard of for the most part, and Walmart's competing on price. It's called a red ocean because in the analogy, we've got all these fish trying to eat each other, and it's creating the blood in the water, and it's red. But a blue ocean is a new product that no one's heard of, and we're not totally sure people want. Like when the iPhone was totally new or the iPod was new, that was still at least like a Walkman or something people were used to. But a blue ocean, you have no competitors, and your biggest problem is getting awareness. So sometimes somebody's new idea for a business, it may be a blue ocean, but it may be a blue ocean because no one will ever want to buy it. Yeah.
So it begs the question, a lot of times I will ask our guest on the show about the concept of idea generation, because I think a lot of listeners are probably in that phase. Maybe they have an existing business, they're thinking about some new things. But how would you suggest that people brainstorm or come up with an idea and then vet that idea before they start spending a lot of money on that?
Well, yeah, there's a few different types of businesses there too. Coming up with a random product idea, I don't know, I'm thinking of those like cable TV ads where it's like, we'll help you market your invention. It could be something like that, or it could be that you have a specific passion or skill or talent I know one of your questions is about authors and books that have changed your life, right? One of those is Jim Collins with Built to Last and Good to Great, and he's got the hedgehog concept in there. So if you're considering being like a service person of some sort, that can help you look at what you're really passionate about, that you can make money at, that you could be one of the best people at. Those three criteria help you come up with your hedgehog concept. And the analogy there is that a hedgehog has only really one strategy. When a predator comes towards it, it just, puts its quills out and, it does one thing really well and that works for it. So the idea there is to figure out what you do really well and you're passionate about and you can make money with. And that's one way to brainstorm it. But again, if it's going to be something totally separate from you, you're going to invent something or I don't know, then it's a little harder. But you can look online for indicators of what people want. One way to do that is the Google ad tool, AdWords, has this keyword tool, which allows you to put in keywords or just words, random things that you're thinking about selling. And then it'll come back and tell you all of the actual phrases people are typing into Google to search for and exactly how many people are searching on that phrase per month. And that helps you find out if people are actually looking for something related to what you're thinking of and also how many, because you may find something like maybe 20 people are searching for something a month. And that's unless you have like a really high price thing, you're only going to sell like 10 of a year. That's just not enough people looking for it.
So talking about resources, are there any other courses or ebooks or blogs or websites that you have used or even continue to use to this day to help you with your online knowledge?
Well, I think it's different for a beginner. I don't, I stopped going to conferences to learn stuff and I stopped reading. I'll find randomly like a blog post from an expert that's good for me, but I'm at a different level. I think for a beginner, I would look at something like Social Media Examiner because they have a lot of really good, how-to or tips articles. And there are others. That's just social media. There are others for search, like Moz has some good stuff for search and for internet marketing. That's MOZ. Those would be the two I would suggest to start with.
And how about specific tools like if someone's looking to build a website? Are there different, email service providers or platforms on which you suggest or like to see websites built?
Yeah, there are a bunch out there. I mean, I know some people use Constant Contact. I used that years ago. There's MailChimp, Aweber. They're all somewhat similar. If you want to do email marketing, they'll help you create a form to capture emails and then create your emails in a really nice graphical user interface. One thing that people don't necessarily consider is that you can create what's called an autoresponder series, where if people sign up for your email, you'll send them out like 5 or 10 emails in a row at specific frequency. Like they might go out every 2 or 3 days. So you could say like, sign up for my free emails, 7 tips for blah, blah, blah. And so you put together those 7 emails and program it, and you don't have to send that out after you set it up. It just does it automatically.
So the concept of an autoresponder is, again, when I go to your website, I put my name and email address in there to get your 7 free tips. The next 7 emails I'm getting, the next 7 days, you have already written them, they're already programmed in, and they go out at specific dates and times. Yeah,
it's a good way, because otherwise, there's no way to do this one-on-one. It's and also the principle behind that is the idea that this would be for something where you're trying to establish either an expertise or you're trying to just prove to people that you're out there to help them. And it's part of what we call content marketing, where you're kind of becoming a publisher, whether it's with emails or blog posts or ebooks or videos. These days, companies, to be effective, and it's no longer like an advantage to do that. It's like if you aren't doing that, you're not really keeping up.
And I thought everybody just typed a personal email to me.
You are misinformed.
So, Brian, other than financial benefits, what other benefits do you get from running your own business, online business?
Yeah, that's a good one. I like to keep my own hours, and I can be flexible with what I need to do outside of work. I kind of think it's all together though. I do this stand up, and then I integrate that into my keynotes, and I do improv, and I feel like that helps me be creative because I need to write ads and things like that. But so flexible hours is a good thing, and also being your own boss. I just turned 40 recently, and my goal from the time I was like 38 or so was to no longer be working for the man, whoever that is. But I'm just an entrepreneurial type of personality, so it fits me.
Yeah, now that I'm just thinking about that, why isn't it I no longer want to work for the woman?
Because statistically, I don't think they've caught up yet.
Yeah, I hear you. So is there, you obviously have other interests outside the business with your comedy. Is there some, mission or vision that you're trying to achieve with your work in life?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to do the stuff that's interesting to me that helps people. And so with the internet marketing and consulting and services we do, that's partly to help businesses get results, specifically leads and sales, although sometimes it's just for raising awareness. And then when it comes to speaking and training and all that stuff, even with the stand-up I do, I'd like to educate people a little bit, inspire them, and entertain them. And I know that people learn better when they're laughing and they're paying attention. So I like to entertain, inspire, and educate.
What are your thoughts on the concept of coaches or mentors or mastermind groups?
They can be good, although on the internet there are a lot of guys out there that make a lot of money on it, and I'm not quite sure how much value they give. So I think mentors in general are good. I'm just always wary of the ones where they're like charging $10,000 or this or that. But I do have a mentor for speaking whose name is Garrison Wynn, and he's been a business speaker for about 14 years. I don't know, 13 or 14. But talking to him has helped a lot. I think he did get me like a few gigs, but he helped me a lot think about how my website should look and not making certain dumb mistakes. What was funny was when I met him, I showed him one of my like comedic videos that was me pretending to be a Scandinavian punk rocker singing a song about how you shouldn't sniff glue. And what was weird about that was the Army actually used that in a training program for young soldiers not to do stupid things. But he was like, maybe you shouldn't have that sniffing glue video be public anymore because maybe that's not good for your speaking career. So, little tips like that and the direction that I've gone, topics and things like that. I think mentors are very, very important.
So do you frequently use your entertainment capabilities to help market your business?
Some. I mean, I think it plays in actually with like account management, talking to clients. I think that helps a lot. Just, I think it's really important because a lot of the work I do is remote. I mean, I've got clients. I'm in South Carolina. I've got clients in California and the UK and wherever. So when we get on the phone, I think it helps me with rapport. It helps them know, I'm a real person, an authentic person. But we haven't done a lot with, one day I'd love to do some, funny sketches or videos or whatever for commercials. We haven't gotten there yet.
How about providing that service for other people? Like for me, if I said, hey, Brian, can you help me market my business through comedy or video or a combination?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to do it. We haven't done it yet. We haven't really had it requested, but I'd be happy to work on it. I think it's really important that you got to have a combination of creativity and the marketing where you're really getting a message across and being, professional, appropriate, not being, that's the problem with comedy is a lot of the new comedians or comedians who are in the business world are not capable of doing it in an unoffensive way.
Yeah, I hear you there.
Yeah.
So if somebody calls you and says, "Hey, Brian, tell me about your team," do you say, "Well, take my customer service agent, please"?
No, I don't. I absolutely do not. Yeah, and I'm not actually very good at remembering my own jokes. I'm pretty good on my feet, but so sometimes just funny stuff comes out.
So let's kind of wrap things up by I'm going to ask you for a couple of actionable pieces of advice. I want to finish up this episode, and I want you to give me a couple things to do to kind of either get my business going or move my business forward. I'm a baby boomer, and that's what I want to do. Help me out here.
Okay, so first, you've got to get into Google AdWords, get an account so that you can use the Google AdWords keyword tool. And then you want to put all your business ideas in there. Find out what other people call it, not what you call it, but what other people call it, and search for. And find out if a lot of people are looking for it or not. You know, if you don't have searches with more than 1,000 or 10,000 people a month, it may not be popular enough. And then you need to know who your customer is and keep learning that better. One of Facebook's advantages is that you can learn psychographics, stuff about people's real life at home and all that stuff that we never knew, that we could never use. But you can learn who your customers are as real people with Facebook. And start advertising AdWords on Facebook. Again, like I said, I mean, you can actually do like $1 a day on Facebook, and you're going to reach 4,000 people a day you weren't going to reach before. So to me, it's like a no-brainer, and it's just a competitive advantage to even be using it. And one last thing too, depending on where you're at, you may want to get, if you can get a video made to explain your business and introduce you for anywhere from $300 to $1,000, and then promote that with pre-roll ads, and that may give you an advantage as well.
So is that, do they call those explainer videos? It's like a 2-minute video with a little stick figure or something?
Yeah. There's one company called Cellmation that makes it where it looks like the guy's drawing it on the screen. There's a company called Promotion. It's spelled really weird. Promo, SHIN. And they do an animated explainer video. But yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Got it. So Brian, what's the best way for our listeners to connect with you?
You could actually just email me at bbcarter@gmail.com, or go to briancarteryeah.com. And then the speaking is at social media, keynotespeaker.com.
Excellent. So all the fantastic resources that were mentioned in today's episode will be available on the show notes page at theboomerbusinessowner.com. Brian, thank you so much. On behalf of all of our listeners, we really, really appreciate your help.
Thanks. I'm glad you had me. I really enjoyed it.
Boomers, the time is now to take action and finally build your dream online business. And the great news is that Charlie is here to help. Visit theboomerbusinessowner.com and sign up for your free 15-minute consultation with Charlie to help you discover your first steps to starting your online business. Only those who take action are rewarded. So visit theboomerbusinessowner.com, and we'll see you tomorrow.